I've said it many times before, model railroading is an expensive hobby, so we look to save money wherever we can. Here are some model railroad money savers on coffee and trains. Welcome everybody to another edition of Coffee and Trains. Before we begin, I am drinking some Dunkin' Donuts coffee and as always black with 2 sugars. So today we are talking about things you can do to save some money during your model railroading experience. I've gone over plenty of products you can buy in my series Dollar Store Model Railroad Finds. You can check out that playlist right up here, but I haven't really talked about things that you can do to save money during your model railroading experience so that you can save your money for the things you really want. Like for just a random example, an Athearn N-Scale 4664 Challenger and a UP paint scheme, in case my wife is watching. Anyways, let's go over some of the things that you can do to save some money during your model railroad projects. The first thing you can do is something that a ton of you already do. I guarantee it. I do it. The majority of my rolling stock is this way, and that is to buy used. Now, when I say buy used, I would preferably go to a reputable eBay seller. My personal favorite is Model Train Market. There's a few others that I really like, but that's one that I have gotten consistently great products from at a reasonable price with shipping. Another great place to pick up used rolling stock is train shows. When train shows really start to crank back up again, there is tons of used rolling stock that you can find there, and it's always at a very reasonable price. There's always going to be that piece of new rolling stock that you're not going to be able to find used. But if you're looking just for filler cars like box cars and hopper cars and tank cars and things like that, you can't beat the used market. There's always someone looking to sell something. And don't be afraid to buy something with an old coupler and just swap out the trucks. I've done that plenty of times in the past. So buying used is definitely a huge model railroad money saver. Another great model railroad money saver is look for the products that you use in different places. Now, what I mean by that is look for the base supplies that you use a lot of. A big example of this is plaster of Paris. If you use a lot of plaster of Paris, if you're buying it for the model specific type of plaster, you're going to be spending a lot more per pound than you would buying it from a home improvement store or somewhere else. Now, granted, the plaster of Paris that is from the modeling company is probably going to be engineered a little bit different and a little bit easier to use, but you're going to be spending way less money by buying just a 25-pound bag of plaster of Paris from your local home improvement store. I was actually at one earlier this week, and it was only about 20 bucks for 25 pounds. You're looking at probably less than half the price of buying model-specific plaster and things like that. Another great example is paints. I rarely ever buy model specific paints. Most time I just buy the cheap acrylic paints. I use those in my airbrush. I use those everywhere. I also use a lot of spray paint. So that is really a great way to save some money. My next tip is to reuse and recycle. A lot of things that we throw out as trash are great materials for model railroading. I think the single biggest example of that is cardboard. My mountains back there are built completely out of, the structure of them is built almost completely out of cardboard and spare foam. And basically I just took a shipping box that we got some product in and I cut it into strips, and I was able to make those mountains and simply cover them with plaster cloth, and I think they came out pretty good. So that's one thing you can do. Another cool one that I've recently started using a lot, and it's so recent that I don't even have any video of this, but you know the little Pringles cans lids or chip can lids? If you flip those over, those are great for holding little tiny parts when you're working on things like locomotives, or if you're working with things that have a lot of small screws. Those hold parts pretty well. Obviously, if you tip them over, you're going to lose all the parts, but it's a great place to collect your parts. Another really great one that I use, I haven't bought specific plastic for windows and buildings in a long time, and that's because I just use the plastic off of blister packs and I cut them up so that I can use them for windows, because it's basically the same thing. It's just formed into those blister packs. Now, you're not going to get the nice clean sheets that you normally have when you buy the plastic specific for it, but they're so easy to make into windows. That's actually one of the things I love to do with the trash from Kato Unitrack, because all the track comes in blister packs. So I'll just cut up the blister packs and make windows for my building. So looking for things that you can reuse and recycle that you would otherwise throw away is a great way to save some money in model railroading. Another great way to save money, and you can actually combine this with the previous tip, is to scratch build. Scratch building is a great way to save money, and you'll get things that are custom for your layout. So scratch building buildings is going to be, if you do it right, it's going to be a lot more satisfying. And it does take some practice and it takes some tools to be able to really do it well. There are some people who do it extremely well. One person that comes to mind is Vinny, aka BNSF6951. He does scratch building extremely well. I think almost all of his structures on his layout are scratch built. I'll link his channel in the description below. Another thing that has come up is 3D printing. 3D printing is something that has really exploded in model railroading. And yes, you're going to say that, yeah, you have to buy a 3D printer, but there are so many 3D printers out there for the hobbyists are going to be so cheap now that it really doesn't take saving up that much money. We're talking about 3D printers that cost roughly the same as a new locomotive. So investing in a 3D printer so you can customize your entire layout with custom structures and figures and details and all that kind of stuff might be worth the investment to you there. But scratch building and doing everything yourself, you can actually combine it with the previous tip of reuse and recycle and look for materials that you were going to throw out, such as plastics, and make them into new structures. I've seen plenty of people do that. So scratch building is definitely a big way to save money. So those are some of my model railroad money savers that I use to save money for the really fun things in model railroading. I want to hear some of yours. You can leave those in the comments below. I might make this into a new series where we all share our model railroad money making techniques. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get to the coffees you guys are drinking. First of all, let me just mention this comment from Dad 2012 Dwayne Miller, who I was jealous of drinking Tim Hortons last week. He said, if I could send you some Tim Hortons coffee from Canada, I would. Well, I may have to go online and see if I can buy some and have it sent to me. Metra MP36407 says that he is drinking cold brew from Aldi. He says that he absolutely enjoys his cold brew coffees. I do too. I do love a good cold brew, especially a nitro cold brew. Jason says that usually he would be drinking Tim Hortons. All right, that's it. I'm ordering Tim Hortons. But he's drinking McCafe in the Keurig with 1 milk and no sugars. So there you go, guys. I'm ordering Tim Hortons. I'm just going to do it right now. Okay, I'm back. David F. says that, as usual, he's drinking Mystery Cafeteria Coffee Black and 2 packets of Sweet and Low with extra grounds. And last but not least, Brian Page Model Train says that he's drinking Black Rifle Coffee Company's Liberty Roast Straight Black. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. They are listed right here. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. A lot of cool stuff going on over there. Plus, if you're at the $5 a month level, you get a model that you can 3D print every month. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.